then like before, if I go off, then it keeps going.
How's it go, Maureen?
Yeah, pretty good, Troy. Pretty good. Bit of a ride, bit of an adventure.
With the slick entrepreneur.
Well, I'll be outside like mowing the lawn, and I'm like, oh, I've got to run in and say something, because I was thinking that, the scary Aussie woman from the country and the American, typical classic American entrepreneur.
What a contrast in styles.
How you going, Troy?
How's it going, Marky, mate?
Yeah, good.
I actually thought that you were me. I was really confused then.
Great. Simon just said he can join, and here he is. And
Hello.
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 Hi.
I enjoyed the whole experience. I mean, like, it's a whole ride of strangeness, and as the last Zoom calls, it was going off in a different way. I like to hear the rants, but then I was unaware that others were getting.
Yeah, but it just seemed like it was never ending though.
Well, yeah, this time it was, a different experience and a different set of things to look at and learn, and just having all you guys there. Like Troy was like, oh, he's coming to kind of, I don't know what it just sort of backing me up, I guess, because I had to admit that, my awkwardness, my difficulty getting it across, that is what's missing in that kind of debate that this guy's used to. So it took me a while to just go, well, there's people, I mean, this is what it's about. He's just got apart from having a different set of opinions, he's a different person in this world that needs to be accepted. And I don't know if he was meaning, I mean, it seemed like he was meaning to be, to make people look bad, but I guess that's kind of, I mean, I kind of still believe that. And there's a lot of people that, they're annoyed by the hard left and how triggered they get, and how it can get ridiculous from their side. So then you get stuck with, oh, they're all like that, and then he gets stuck in a practice of just triggering lefties, and then that works.
Well, this is why you started the whole common ground thing, of course, isn't it? Because in a way they can be the same in terms of, their refusal.
Far left and the far right. Oh, sorry,
obviously be open-minded, and that obviously, it's a big, confusing world out there, and there's, obviously it's more complicated than obviously, one ideology.
Yeah. And I feel like, I mean, as soon as I started learning philosophy, and they were talking about how knowledge production comes from, they used to in the old days, and the idea of philosophy is to bring it all together in knowledge production. But then there's different parts of philosophy, which are what Tyler was using, which is critical thinking. I started that unit, and it was all about the different fallacies, how to present arguments. So that's a branch of philosophy that I didn't have much interest in, but it seemed important. A lot of stuff to remember that I prefer.
Yeah, well, I mean, it started off as you saying that, like, you didn't think that abortion was even good, let alone right, but he just fucking totally railroaded you.
Yeah, I assumed at the beginning, because I tried to prepare. So I really love the Jordan Peterson 13 minutes and it just seemed like a perfect representation of all the things I try and have my opinion about. That but it was a bit like full on, the name of it is Abortion is Clearly Wrong, but it's not that simple. So I was not willing to like go, it's clearly wrong. I mean, after the debate, I can accept these things, and I wasn't engaging in that group before because of the hard line kind of, it's murder, therefore it just has to be illegal, and now I can see how we can start this new conversation that me and Simon, I think we came to that conclusion. I mean, we came to that through this open discussion of 2 hours, that maybe the solution, one great solution, is to work together about preventing and talking about why pregnancies, unwanted pregnancy, why it still happens. And I'm banned from the left, not the left, the pro-choice activists, because they don't like me talking about that there's something wrong with it.
Well, then that means that you're right then, doesn't it, Maureen?
Well, it makes me angry because I and many others have experienced pain and suffering due to abortion, and why are my voice was just like, no, it's good. Women need it, they want it. That opinion is unhelpful because, and there's that interesting one that my friend is looking into, that from 2008, that Victoria has the late term abortion law.
Was that 2008, was it?
Yeah, it seems it's so long ago, and I was hanging around a group that were focused on that law that came in, and I was really interested in listening to a woman who had survived a late term abortion, so that drew me back then. And then it was sort of nothing, and then Simon's group, is a similar, but I think a more, I don't know, more open. It seemed to be even more just focused on that immoral, well, to use that word immoral, it seems immoral to have a late term abortion where if the baby comes out alive, they're left to die. And if you presented that argument, most people would go, yes, that's immoral there.
I just can't believe the fact that, obviously he is so one-dimensional in thinking, well, I don't care, obviously, why these women are pregnant, they just shouldn't be able to obviously abort, their babies, but he seemed to completely ignored what you said about obviously the law we have in Victoria. And I mean, how on earth could, that possibly not obviously sink in, how could he have not taken that in at all? Like, he just seemed to completely ignore that, which was just, just surely that would outrage him.
Well, that occupied my mind. I want to let Simon answer, but that really, that's what I went into, that here is a mind where he's there with it. So what is it? Why is it there? Very interesting. Is it just that he's an online presence and doesn't hang around women? Is it because he is very black and white in a normal sense? Like, people are black and white all over the place, and it works. Yeah. So sorry, Simon.
No. I think possibly, like, lots of people are very different in that space than they might be if you sat down and you're around the dinner table having this conversation, or in a more personable situation. I used to jump in and out of those sort of the pro-life, pro-choice debate groups, and they're like the octagon, the wrestling sort of. You walk in there and there's like there's everyone screaming from the sides while two people go at it in the middle, and there's it's not the space for, I want to understand your perspective. That's just not what those spaces are.
Do you think there's a benefit to that? I could see a benefit that I'd been challenged to my core, and you need to admit where it's wrong, and if the hard left are like, no, we don't have to admit, abortion is right, it's a compass cells, end of story, and if they don't get challenged in that, really, that way.
I agree. I don't think those groups change people, but they are. I found them useful, and I'd treat them like something that was useful. Like, I wouldn't treat them as this is where I'm really going to hear and understand. What it was is a place where I could go, and I would be forced to articulate my own thoughts, which is a challenge. And time and time again, I'd get so for other people here, I'm pro-life, and so the language of force would be coming in there, and I go, I can't just change the goalpost and want to talk about something else. I've got to actually address the things that are being thrown at me, and try and articulate how I understand them. And I found that challenge really, really brutal but good in that sort of way. And also, you can hear over time the things that people are caring about. So obviously, pro-life people bang on about the life, right? The life in the womb. It's alive. It's a baby, and pro-choice people bang on about, and this is obviously a big generalization, but in these groups you hear it, it's about women's autonomy and not being forced into a pregnancy that they don't want. And if all we do is talk about those two topics, we're just talking over each other. We're just not even talking to the other person. We're just talking sort of to ourselves. And so I found that useful to go, okay, this is the thing I care about in this issue. But if I don't hear that this other person is caring about this other issue, then I'll never be able to understand. And the good thing is often I can go, actually, I agree with elements of the things that you're worried about. And if I can actually hear that and learn how to hear that and learn how to think about that, then when I actually sit down for a proper conversation like we had, we could go, yes, I actually really care about a woman's life being ruined by a pregnancy that she doesn't want. And you could say, yes, I care about a child not just being treated as just a clump of cells all the way through. And so we could actually hear the issues that the other side is concerned about. So I find those spaces not overly edifying, but I find it builds up some muscles and when you go in there, I guess.
Yeah, well, this guy was just going, I want to debate someone. How come no one will debate me? And in my mind, I thought, oh, well, I've been practicing this in my project, and I kind of did state, one isn't really a debate as much as an open discussion. And he's like, yeah, fine. I said, yeah, and I do speak awkwardly. And so, it was just a good experience. And I think, the culture, I haven't brought it up, but it just feels like, American culture in general, and I love it. I love this about them, but then I love our chilled out nature. They have this driving, and the entrepreneurs, that's a huge thing. You can just make money from all these different ways, online, social media. He is an example of an extreme. People have been telling me, oh, this is why pro-lifers are like this. And I'm like, now I can say, no, he's quite an extreme example of taking this position and, I don't know, using it to trigger lefties because that's his desire. But he has some desire, he has a strong feeling that it's wrong and why is it there, and he has to stop it. So
I kind of want to do that too, but obviously you're not one of them. You obviously you are, like you said, a libertarian, lefty.
Is that me?
No.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Politics.
Sorry, you said libertarianism. I remember you messaged me that should be, obviously, the left should want to be libertarian.
Yeah. There's a lot of things about just freely letting people do what they want.
Yeah, but this guy was, pretty much like the pro-life equivalent of, the fucking vegans that shut down, the city.
It feels like there's some, I'm not saying that we're animals.
There are babies being murdered as we speak.
Yeah, and it's been going on for a long time. And then there was that point where I thought, well, this is what pro-life people believe it's murder, I have to expect that they're going to think of us, certain ones, as murderers. So it's going to be a strong response because they're seeing murder, and then we're coming along going, no, it's not murder, you fools, or whatever language
but I don't think he's coming from the perspective of this is murder and I'm heartbroken over this. He would be, it becomes an intellectual exercise, and I'm all for an intellectual exercise now and then. I'm happy to. Sometimes I'll even say, okay, I'll take the opposite position and let's battle it out with a friend as we try and work out where the weaknesses in an argument might be. Like, that's sort of intellectual sparring. But so I don't think it was from a place of, might be from a place of conviction for him, but not necessarily really, like, otherwise he'd be in tears and just begging you, please, it wasn't from that emotional place. It was a cerebral place that he was working.
I don't believe it was emotional place. I believe it was a righteous place.
Yeah.
I feel
or maybe
like
a self-righteous.
During the interaction, I was on. I do want to watch it back because it will help me, but I can't. I just go, oh, and that's what I'm learning here. It's about hindsight. It's just such a big thing about, because we're just openly discussing, and then this is what happens in 12-step meetings, and why I feel like it's so related to that is that you sit there and just spew out stuff, then you go home and you feel embarrassed, but it's part of the learning. Like, it's the point, it's one of the points, one of the big points. So I have to accept that I was this way then, and then and so during our talk, he did keep saying, I don't want to be rude, but, and then he wanted to bring it back to his set argument, it seemed, because he uses those same the analogies, and then I've gone from really just going, analogies are completely useless, to, oh yeah, I can, we actually came to the point of real like where we really divide through those analogies by that broken window one, which I was getting frustrated about, but he was trying to articulate that he believes if you accidentally break a window, you're responsible, and it's black and white. And then I've been thinking about that, like there's a Christian element or a spiritual element where people make mistakes and then they're forgiven, or you learn from it, and you can only learn from it once you've done it. And then there's the hindsight, and it seems, I wonder if that's the big message behind the Christian forgiveness part, that you don't just get forgiven, go on your way and keep, sinning, and then you still go to heaven because you're forgiven all the time. You're forgiven, and then you see the error, or you see what you've done because now your eyes are open, and then you feel bad, not justified guilt rather than having guilt placed on you, and then you do something different. So you're not responsible, but then you are, because then you're actually changing it, I guess, because you caused, a little boy breaking a window. What would happen then? I wonder that if the person with the window had compassion, they would go, oh, look at him, he feels bad, if he does it again, then, parents, or you have to kind of go, who pays for it? But then he went on to, I think he has a set way where he goes, okay, broken window. All right, then what if they've got a BB gun and they take someone's eyes out? And I go, well, accident. Okay, then what if they've got a gun and they die? So then he's relating it to the abortion, which is
So, okay. Yeah, I see. I people like that, they really have only one kind of way of thinking, and they struggle to see a different point of view because it's almost like they've been focused on that idea for so long. So when you're talking to people like that, they can't break that concept unless they've been exposed to that concept. So yeah, it's weird.
Yeah. Hi, Mark. So yeah.
Hi. Sorry, I just thought I chimed in. So
Oh, that's all right.
yeah,
Your voice is similar to Troy's, but then I can see you.
yeah.
Yeah, it had me really confused at the beginning.
That's all right.
I don't know if it's going to record with this split screen or like it just shifts from one person to the other, which seems annoying, but I don't know.
Yeah, well, I think
I
that
think
obviously he really lost in reality. You know, I think that obviously the audience would have come to that same conclusion because, I mean, you know,
yeah, we're all
obviously, you know, you were, you know, open to obviously, you know, what he thinks, but, you know, as he said, he didn't care obviously about what you thought, you know, so, you know, to me, you know, in reality, you got the W, not him.
Well, yeah, I know that what he said he didn't care about. I think there were two things specifically, but one was, why should I care about a woman having a safe abortion? And I thought, well, he thinks it's murder, so of course he wouldn't care that she wants a safe abortion because she's safely murdering. So that to him, that's a non.
But I don't think that obviously, you know, women should, you know, go back to having backyard abortions with coat hangers.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, like, really, you know, saying that you don't care about that, you know, that's why I said that, you know, to me, you know, he didn't have empathy, or, you know, he doesn't have empathy, saying that he doesn't care.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, you know, therefore, you know, the abortions aren't going to stop, are they? Right? You know, because if you're, you know, saying to pregnant women that, you know, I don't care about obviously what you're going through, you know, then why, you know, should they let that, you know, stop them from having an abortion, you know, when they don't obviously, you know, feel confident that they can, you know, bring up obviously the baby.
I just thought about how there's reasons why he doesn't care, and instead of, and I moved from anger, frustration, even, you know, hatred I'll have for 30 seconds, and then I'm like, oh, you can't hate. It leads to violence. But then it's like, okay, well, what are the reasons why you wouldn't care? And then slowly and it's my ego dropping, and that's a great Eastern and Christian shared spiritual practice, and of moving that ego out of the way, your self-centered self, and 12 steps. And, yeah.
So, I mean, sorry, did you want to say something, Mark?
I would.
Oh, sorry.
Hi guys,
Aaron.
it's Aaron here. Hi. I think that the reason that he was saying things like he didn't care was because he wanted it to be in the format of a debate. It wasn't really, because he was the owner and moderator, but at the same time he was looking to win. So anything that wasn't going to support his argument then is not going to help him win. So he doesn't care if someone's pregnant for whatever reason, apart from rape. And he brought up a lot of very strange analogies that if you took them another way, and you also noticed that he asked a lot of yes and no questions, and when he was challenged on the yes or no questions, when Maureen wanted to go deeper into those questions, it would just be, no, give me yes or no, you know, I asked a yes or no question, you know, and that kind of thing is
But if you're strong,
I think that you know, if you have a set of logical conclusions, A implies B, B implies C, C implies D, D implies E, and if I get you to agree to E, then I win. That's what he was doing. But the way that he was doing it through the use of those analogies are fundamentally flawed. Was the kid responsible for breaking the window? Yes, he was. Oh, okay. Was the kid responsible for shooting the guy in the eye at the park? Yes, he was. Okay, so now he has to make amends for it, does he? Or he has to be responsible for it, does he? Yes, he does. Okay, well, how's he going to do that? Oh, well, he can have an abortion. That's logically consistent, you know. So
Yes.
there's
You know, he went to the BB gun and then to what if you kill someone?
yeah. Well, what if you kill someone? Yeah, okay. What if you kill someone? You know, I mean that's
Closer to a
but you know what I mean. Well, what if you killed someone? Well, what if you had a resurrection thing and you could bring them back to life, or you could, if you shot them, but then you could drive them to hospital? What about if you got them pregnant? You know, and what he was talking about was accidents.
Get ready for...
You know, so it was all over the place. And the fact that he was moderator and then he said, okay, we're going to finish this off. And then he kept talking. It was very rude and it was very one-sided. So I don't think it was a true debate anyway. So I don't think anyone was the winner. I just think it's something to be learnt from.
Yeah.
Oh, it was railroading.
Yeah. Kate, you look like you're poised.
No, I loved it. You were like, you've been like a dog with a bone in the aftermath, and I think it's pretty.
Oh, I was just loving it. Every kind of step. I was so uncomfortable and in pain, but I've been in that pain before. I mean, I've, you know, chosen to pick up all kinds of, or, you know, shut off and put on the TV, or, you know, escape, and then, you know, just caught up in it. And
I loved your comment, Kate, that he looked better and the weed hat gave him street cred.
I know. I was really going to hit below the belt, and I thought, no, I can't do that. But he's just a predictable, one of those predictable guys that, you know, the Trump T-shirt today with that hat. It was just like, yeah, okay. So he's sort of demonstrating through what he's wearing, almost, you know, who he wants to represent. And it's just bullshit. I didn't think he had personality. I didn't think he had charisma. I don't know. I mean, I don't even know what barely TikTok is, but, you know, I've got a little bit of an understanding, but also it wasn't a conversation, Maureen, and he's just well rehearsed. He's got a stance, and he's well rehearsed.
Sounds like a hipster.
You know, and he being well rehearsed is not like he's got a good argument anyway. I personally don't think, because there was no sort of personality behind it. He was just sort of nothing. So, but I think it's good that you kept pounding him on the posts.
I kept saying he was a product. What did I say? It's his brand, and it seems to reflect culture today, where everyone's got a brand, and they're not going to be real because they have to keep up that brand because that's their occupation. And I hate it when it's just that, because it's a fake thing. And
well, look, it's like the spin today. I've just taken a photo of it. You know, I don't barely do Facebook anymore, but of course I've had a field day the last couple of days. But this fucking thing that Andrews has posted, Victoria's circuit breaker action. Sorry, you can't see that. But
stop recording and start so that we can talk about it.
It's all marketing and spin now. There's